live in the deep south, be working hard on a farm. Although he also spent time in Louisiana State Prison, just for equal measure. So, let's introduce the chickadees, since I'm Robert Trudeau, pretty well known. Robert Trudeau, a storyteller, downtown guide for history tours, retired Caddo teacher, and author of How to Mardi Gras, well, things, book that will help everybody know. Now, please introduce yourselves. Edie, we'll start with you on the far side, please.
Ellie.
Tell them your name.
She doesn't need a microphone, this one.
Microphone. My name is Elizabeth Joanna Spiro. And I play the ukulele, and I'm 9 years old, and I'm a chickadee.
Yeah!
Woo!
My name is Evie Desiree.
Wow! Woo!
My name is Posey Harper.
Woohoo! Yeah!
All right. And we are happy to have you guys as our audience today. We're going to be here for a while, as long as we don't fall out from heat exhaustion. But we will, we're part of what Shreveport needs, and that is more live entertainment downtown. Now, last night, I was in a town right over here called the Noble Savage, and some of my friends, the entertainers of Shreveport, were blowing it out. Lots of good singing and music, drumming. So we do have, we're a center for entertainment, but we want even more of it, and that would include kids performing on the street as well as guys like me. So, if you have any questions about Lead Belly, don't hesitate to ask me.
How tall was he really?
That's a good, thank you for asking that. This is a good representation of his height. He was not a tall guy. This is about, by the way, this sculpture was created by a black artist whose name is Jesse Pitts. And he, the late Jesse Pitts, did a terrific job of it. Why is he pointing his finger like that?
It's all about that wall. That's why he's pointing that finger. It's all about that wall, isn't it?
He had a strong relationship with Texas. In fact, the state of Texas has tried to steal Lead Belly's grave from Louisiana. Yes, they've tried to have it moved across the state line. But Leadbelly's grave is in Louisiana, and it's right at
And
Shiloh
we're going to
Church.
be taking tours after that. Right?
Shiloh
Those
Baptist
girls are
Church.
going along
And,
and actually providing entertainment.
I've taken many tours of people at Shiloh Baptist Church. The main thing that you'll see in addition to a nice building is this cemetery, and in the middle, not on one side of the cemetery, is this magnificent magnolia tree, and it's like the tree of life. And a lot of the graves are not put down in rectangular, linear design, but instead, a lot of the graves are simply pointing toward the tree of life, because people in Louisiana, West African heritage is alive in Louisiana. And that pointing toward the tree of life is an example of West African heritage. So we have this blended culture that we're very happy about. And Leadbelly, when the girls asked me, was Leadbelly a slave? He was not a slave. Nor were his parents. His parents owned their own land. They owned a working farm. Their parents were slaves. So the heritage is of our region. And whether they were intermarried with cattle people, it's widely said that, but we're not sure about that. So they had a rich heritage, and Leadbelly he started at Shiloh Church as the organist on Sundays at Shiloh Church. And he used the keyboard, and he played a lot of accordion. His husband taught him how to play accordion. He is pointing at Texas. He is pointing at a state that's near and dear to him, and where he probably spent as much time as in Louisiana. So thank you, Tony.
I thought maybe he was pointing at the bottom.
The bottoms right behind us is, well, you're right. The bottoms is not far away in that direction. Leadbelly came down to the bottoms with his dad at first. His dad, a farmer, made sure to go to the Negro Day at the State Fair every year. And sometimes he would take his son in the wagon. And Leadbelly wrote a song about that experience. He said, "Dad, why these women's on the porch all dressed up and everything?" And his dad said, well, that's because there's a fashion, son. They showing other women what the fashions is. And Leadbelly knew that was probably a fib. And he wrote a song about that experience. Negro Day at the State Fair meant that not only would you have fun at the fairgrounds, but you would also come down to the bottoms to visit whorehouses that were kind of a mixture. They were kind of beer drinking houses, they were kind of gambling houses, and they were also houses for pleasure in traditional prostitution. So, very important part of Shreveport is right there. By the way, all across America, people like in New Orleans, as well as in other cities, were doing what we did. It's prostitution from the railroad station to the river, in our case, the river where all the prostitution took place. They said, let's move it to the back of town. So that's why Leadbelly went to that part of the town. He played in stores, and he played for special events. He was not someone who played in whorehouses. He just he played wherever he could. He had a good life, except that he had some gin in his hand. And if he drank a little too much gin, he was liable to be out of control. And that's what got him in prison in both Texas and Louisiana. By the way, I'd like to point out to those of you who are a little concerned about his charges of felonious assault. He served all the time that he was given by the courts. He served everything, and he was only released for good behavior. He was released because the prisons were overcrowded, things like that. Although in Texas, he became friends with Governor Pat Neff. Governor Pat Neff was a man who liked to go around the prisons and show his buddies what it was like in state prison. And he realized that Leadbelly was the principal entertainer at the Shaw State Park. And he used to call for Leadbelly, "Come out, sing for us." So eventually, Leadbelly wrote a song for the governor. And it went something like this. Well, if I had the governor where the governor got me, I'd go right down and set the governor free. A lot of verses for that. And he was trying to get out of jail by charming his way out of jail. And he had already done a pretty good job of singing for the governor and his friends. So the song, if I had the governor where he's got me, I'd go right down and set the governor free, actually worked. When Pat Neff got to the end of his term, he signed off on an exemption for a number of people, including Leadbelly, our dear, sweet, cutie Leadbetter. By the way, if you go to Shiloh Baptist Church and look at the cornerstone, you'll see the Leadbetter name in a handful of names establishing the Shiloh Church. So his family was a substantial family, farmers with their own land, and they were not sharecroppers because they owned their land, although all around them were people living in semi-slavery as sharecroppers. So, ask me some questions about Leadbelly, please, so we get a little better acquainted with him. Leadbelly lived the last part of his life in New York City. Would you guess that he lived in Harlem or the Lower East Side? Which would you guess? When Leadbelly moved to New York City, ain't it a pity I'm in New York City? He went there because, thank you for he went there because he was traveling with the University of Texas folk music researcher.
Oh, is he the one that went around everywhere and collected the
Yes,
songs?
exactly. You know about it.
Oh, yeah. I love Good Times, of course, for Nirvana.
Okay. Yes, Nirvana brought us the song In the Times, but you know that song predates Leadbelly quite a bit. That song actually goes back to early Appalachia. Yeah. Yes. So it's got quite a history behind it. Although each generation kind of establishes their own version. In the pines, where the sun never shines.
I know.
Shiver the whole night through.
Nirvana covered that.
Yes. Yes. So, Leadbelly was Avatar. He it's a spot. He soaked in all the songs he could hear. And most of what the world knows about his songs, or actually songs that he gathered, told the world about. He wrote some songs on his own, but most of what he sang were songs that he learned, like Irene. Would you join me in singing Irene Goodnight?
My grandma, we had that on the wall.
All right. Let's see. Sometimes I live in the country, sometimes I live in the town, sometimes I have a great notion to jump in the river and drown. Irene, good night, Irene. Pretend you have a beer stein in your hand. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. Me and my wife got married, got a house and settled down. Now me and my wife are parted. Guess I'll go on back downtown. Join me, please. Irene, good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams. So, this is one of the most frequently sung songs in all the world. If you and I were in a tavern this weekend in Australia, this is what they would be singing at the close of the bar. Raise your hand if you've been singing Irene someplace else in the world, other than here in Shreveport. All right?
Orangeburg.
Well, that's a good place to sing it. That's
Yeah, I know, at its grave every year. That's the last song they sing.
All right. Well, they sing it in Japan, they sing it in Germany, and in England, where he is quite a follower. In fact, one of the English fellows, George Harrison, said, without Lottie Donegan, there would be no Beatles. And without Leadbelly, there would be no Lottie Donegan and no Beatles. So he makes a good connection between folk music in the Deep South and the European and people who love folk music all over the world. So I've taken authors and musicians to Shiloh Church on the edge of Shreveport, on the edge of Caddo Parish. And people go there every day. They find out how to get to Shiloh Baptist Church from the internet, and they go there and they see a beautiful gravestone. They throw their guitar pick down on the gravestone and think about this guy who soaked in all these songs that gave back to the world. Leadbelly made his first trip to New York when he got out of Angola. And it was in the Depression. There were no jobs, especially no jobs for ex-convicts. So he wrote to Lomax, the folk music historian, who was working for the Library of Congress, gathering folk songs. And so Leadbelly joined with him. They began to go to prisons, the churches, the back porches, and they were recording people with the songs of America that had never been heard outside of those neighborhoods. So the folk songs of America. I've been to the Smithsonian, Library of Congress in this case, and watched them take out precious old records of Leadbelly's music with gloves on their hands, put it on a turntable so I could listen to it, and rare books about Leadbelly that are stored in the Library of Congress because they're a center for all of American culture. And so that connects us. So the next time you're in D.C. and you have any extra time, don't neglect. How many of you have been to the Library of Congress? It's a beautiful site, beautiful building, and inestimable source of material. Well, questions, please? No? Well, I've covered everything, I guess.
So, was Irene the gal that you hear about that went to the governor to get him out?
No, Irene is just a mythical woman.
Didn't some lady go to petition the governor to get him out of jail?
It's true. It's not in the literature that I can find. Leadbelly was discovered in Angola by this